when a new client comes in is, for one, they have already spent many hours filling out paperwork to indicate all the things that have ever happened in their past that could have been problematic. And then they come and they see an intake therapist who spends another hour or two talking about all the problems that have ever happened in their past and what could have led to where they are now. And a lot of that is to gather the information so that we can develop a diagnosis, which we need to have in order to bill insurance. And then usually a person, well, they have to be referred to a therapist in order to then be referred for medication, which usually happens. And a lot of my experience of what has happened for most of these clients in therapy from staff meetings that we would have is that people would sit and talk about their problems and talk about their past and where it might have come from. And actually, it's very difficult to have gone through what they went through in the first place, but to have to spend time focusing on it and rehashing it and reliving it, I think is very detrimental. And I often have seen people who have been in other therapies and are feeling rather hopeless because it hasn't helped them to talk about what's wrong and where it might have come from. I think there's a myth that if we knew that, it would make a difference. But in my experience, it doesn't, because we'll never find out where it really all came from because a million things have happened through our lives. And even if we find out, it doesn't make a difference. So I don't want to have people have to spend their time and energy and re-experiencing any of their difficulties that they've had from their past. And there's really no need. And I can absolutely understand so many of my clients who say, I really have been hesitant to come back to therapy because it was so difficult, but I'm so desperate for help that I will try something else. And when people are open to that, it is wonderful to help them find the ways to create what they do want and work through the issues of the deeper underlying patterns and programs that have been operating. I mean, our past is certainly part of who we are. And yet, at this point in time, we would rather have other choices than not have to keep living based on past, I say, old patterns and programs and the tapes that play that, again, so many people aren't even consciously aware of. And so when we find out what's going on underlying, that's what I can work with in terms of being able to help people.